Welcome, sleepy thinkers and curious minds. You've found a soft place to land, a quiet corner where we can let our thoughts drift back through time, not to a specific destination, but to a feeling. Tonight, we're not going to rush through dates or dissect a timeline. Instead, we're going to tiptoe into the great, beautiful mystery of our past, a place where the stories we thought we knew suddenly begin to break. So settle in, let your mind become still, and allow ourselves to gently explore those puzzles that humanity has left behind, the silent questions etched into the very skin of our Earth. For centuries, humanity has dug through the layers of the ground, like a patient gardener tending to a long-forgotten bed. We sift through ruins, picking up every shard of pottery, every crumbling wall, every fossilized bone, hoping that each piece will whisper a story. And for the most part, they do. They tell us tales of ancient cities, of forgotten kings, of battles and triumphs. They paint a picture of a past that feels orderly and understandable, a gentle progression of human knowledge and capability. But sometimes a discovery reaches out like a shadow, a single object, or an enormous structure that simply doesn't fit. It defies logic. It mocks our understanding of history and technology, and all of a sudden, the story breaks. Science hits a wall, and all that's left is a quiet, profound mystery. These are the great archaeological enigmas. They are the discoveries that spark intense debate and capture our imaginations, not because they are easily explained, but because they are not. They remind us that our historical knowledge is like a half-finished painting. We see the broad strokes, the familiar shapes and colors, but there are vast, shadowy spaces that we have yet to fill in. And in those spaces, there is a powerful beauty. It is the beauty of the unknown, the allure of the unproven, the quiet invitation to simply wonder what could have been. Archaeological mysteries at their core are defined by a gap in our understanding. This isn't to say that our scientists are not brilliant or our methods are not sound. On the contrary, these enigmas persist precisely because they have been subjected to the most rigorous of scientific inquiry. They have been carbon dated, analyzed, and studied from every conceivable angle, and yet they refuse to yield their secrets. This gap can come from many places. It might be an incomplete record, a piece of a story that was lost to time, a single page torn from a great cosmic book. It might be a discovery that seems to exist out of place, an object that appears in a time period where it seemingly does not belong, like a modern smartphone found among the ruins of ancient Rome. Or most tantalizingly, it might involve a technology or a level of knowledge that seems far, far beyond the capabilities of the cultures that created it, as if a quiet genius was born 1,000 years too soon. The enduring nature of these mysteries, sometimes persisting for decades or even centuries, only adds to their allure. It reminds us that our quest for understanding is an ongoing process, a quiet, relentless pursuit of truth that never truly ends. So how do archaeologists approach these findings? They don't simply throw their hands up in the air and declare a mystery. Instead, they become like detectives in the most profound sense of the word. They approach their findings with a systematic scientific methodology, a gentle and meticulous process of sifting through the evidence. When a discovery is made, whether it is a small clay pot or a colossal stone structure, they first attempt to explain it within the context of what we already know. They use a powerful array of tools to do this. They use carbon dating to determine its age, a silent chemical clock that tells them precisely how old a piece of organic material is. They analyze the materials and construction methods, comparing them to existing knowledge of the time period and culture. They consult with experts from other fields, geologists, botanists, and physicists, to gain every possible insight. And for the most part, this scientific approach works. The vast majority of archaeological findings, from the ruins of ancient Roman villas to the intricate tools of our earliest ancestors, can be understood through careful study and analysis. The purpose of an old arrowhead, the function of a simple grinding stone, the meaning of a faded inscription. All of this can be unraveled piece by piece until a coherent story emerges. But sometimes a finding defies this immediate explanation. The puzzle won't fit. The piece of the story doesn't make sense in the context of the rest of the book. In these rare and beautiful cases, the true archaeological mystery begins. When faced with these baffling findings, archaeologists do not remain silent. Instead, they propose hypotheses, they conduct further research, and they remain open to new interpretations. They know that a mystery is not a failure, but an opportunity. It is a chance to push the boundaries of archaeological science, to develop new methods, and to see our past through a new lens. It is a reminder that our understanding of the past is incomplete and ever-evolving, a fragile, beautiful thing that can be rewritten with a single unexpected discovery. And in this quiet, relentless pursuit of understanding, we are not just learning about the past. We are learning about ourselves, about our own capacity for wonder, and our own enduring quest for truth. This gentle journey into the unknown is a way to find a sense of peace in the vastness of time. It's a way to feel connected to the silent, determined people who came before us, to feel that their stories, both the ones we know and the ones that remain a mystery, are a part of our own. The quiet hum of history is a lullaby, a story that reminds us that we are not alone. We are simply a small but vital part of a grand and beautiful mystery. We are a part of a great human epic, a story that is still being written, and that in itself is a profound comfort. So let yourself drift off with that thought, a thought that stretches from the first stone tools to the quiet comfort of your own room. The story is only just beginning. Now let's explore this notion of a story breaking a bit more deeply. Imagine our understanding of ancient history as a great hand-woven tapestry. For years, we have been carefully stitching together threads of known facts, creating a coherent picture. We have threads for the rise of agriculture, for the development of writing, for the great empires of Rome and Egypt. The picture is rich, detailed, and beautiful. But then an archaeologist unearths a single impossible thread. It's a color and a material that we believed wouldn't be invented for another 1,000 years, and it's woven into a pattern that defies the known techniques of that era. This is the Antikythera Mechanism, an object so complex, so far ahead of its time, that it is as if the thread for a computer was woven into the tapestry of the ancient Greeks. This is the beauty of a genuine mystery. It doesn't just add a detail to our tapestry. It forces us to re-examine the entire weave. We have to wonder, was the technology a one-off stroke of genius? Or was it a sign of a lost tradition? A whole hidden panel of the tapestry that was lost to time. The Antikythera Mechanism, a marvel of ancient engineering, reminds us that the story we tell ourselves about the past might be incomplete, that there may be entire chapters missing, entire schools of thought that have been lost to the sands of time. This feeling of the story breaking is not a defeat. It is a moment of profound humility, a quiet reminder that our historical narrative is a living, breathing thing, constantly being revised and refined with each new discovery. A good archaeologist doesn't simply try to force the new strange thread to fit the old tapestry. They acknowledge its uniqueness, its mystery, and they begin the slow, meticulous work of weaving a new, richer, more complex picture that can accommodate it. And in this process, the story of humanity becomes not smaller, but larger, more beautiful, and more mysterious. This sense of mystery is what makes archaeology a field of endless fascination. It is a constant reminder that the past is not a static, dead thing. It is alive, full of secrets, and it continues to speak to us through the objects and structures we unearth. The Nazca Lines in Peru, for example, are a breathtaking, beautiful puzzle. Imagine a desert floor etched with enormous drawings of animals, plants, and geometric shapes, some so large they can only be appreciated from the sky. Who created them? Why and how, with the limited technology of their time, did they create something so vast and so precise? These are questions that have echoed through the decades, and they continue to do so. They are the kinds of questions that a gentle guide with a quiet and open mind can appreciate, not for their answers, but for the profound beauty of their existence. The story we tell ourselves about the past, a story of a slow linear progression from simple to complex, is a comforting one. But these great mysteries, these objects and structures that defy our expectations, are a gentle nudge to the shoulder, a soft reminder that our past was far more complex, far more creative, and far more mysterious than we ever could have imagined. It's an invitation to see the ancient world not as a foreign simplistic place, but as a place of quiet geniuses, of lost knowledge, and of beautiful unanswered questions. So let's take a final moment to rest in this story of archaeological mysteries. We've seen how they challenge our understanding, how they remind us of our own humility, and how they push the boundaries of our knowledge. And in this process, we find a new kind of wonder, a new kind of connection to the people who came before us. Their mysteries are not a sign of our ignorance, but a testament to their ingenuity, a quiet, beautiful puzzle that they left for us to solve. And perhaps in the end, the solving of the puzzle is not the point. Perhaps the point is the journey, the quiet contemplation, the sense of wonder that comes from knowing that the story of our past is still being written, and that with each new discovery, with each new mystery, it becomes not a simpler story, but a more beautiful one. Let's continue our quiet journey, gently turning our attention to some of the most captivating and bewildering discoveries ever made. We've spoken of how archaeological findings can challenge our sense of history, acting like misplaced puzzle pieces that make the entire picture difficult to assemble. Tonight, let's drift through some of these specific baffling discoveries, the tangible objects and grand structures that whisper tales of knowledge and technology far beyond what we expect of their time. These are the artifacts that force us to reconsider what we think we know, the silent messengers from a past that seems more brilliant and mysterious than we give it credit for. Imagine holding a simple clay jar, an unassuming relic from an ancient world, only to discover it might be something entirely different, a battery. This is the enduring mystery of the Baghdad battery, unearthed near Baghdad, Iraq in 1938. This artifact consists of a clay pot about 5.5 inches tall, housing a copper cylinder and an iron rod. On the surface, it looks like a simple vessel, perhaps for storing scrolls or documents. But when you look closer, when you consider the components and their arrangement, a startling possibility emerges. When filled with an acidic liquid like vinegar or grape juice, this arrangement creates a simple electrochemical cell capable of generating a small electric current. The idea that ancient civilizations might have had knowledge of electricity millennia before its modern discovery is both thrilling and deeply perplexing. It challenges our comfortable narrative of technological progression, where every great leap forward is a logical linear step from the last. So what could a 2,000-year-old battery have been used for? The theories are as varied as they are intriguing. Some researchers suggest it was used for electroplating, a technique to coat a base metal with a thin layer of gold or silver. Imagine the shimmering beauty of an object, gilded not by fire, but by a quiet, unseen force. Others propose a more therapeutic use, suggesting it could have been a form of pain relief, a gentle electric current applied to the body to soothe aches and ailments. A few have even speculated that it was used in religious ceremonies, perhaps, to create a static charge that would make a sacred statue appear to be imbued with divine power. However, many archaeologists remain skeptical, arguing for a more mundane explanation. They suggest the jar was simply a storage vessel, and the combination of metal components is merely a coincidence, a case of our modern minds imposing a complex function onto a simple object. This lack of a definitive answer is what makes the Baghdad battery such a powerful mystery. It's a silent debate in the form of a clay pot, a physical manifestation of an unanswered question that invites us to reconsider the ingenuity of our ancestors. It is a reminder that the line between a container and a power source can be a very thin one, and that the past holds secrets we may never fully decode. Now let's turn to a different kind of mystery, one of scale and precision that defies easy explanation. Imagine an ancient fortress not built with mortar and brick, but with massive multi-ton stones each cut and shaped with such accuracy that they fit together like a perfect three-dimensional jigsaw puzzle. This is Sacsayhuaman, an Incan architectural marvel in Peru. The stones are colossal, with some weighing over 100 tons, and they interlock so tightly that you can't even slide a thin knife blade between them. This is a feat of engineering that to this day baffles modern architects and engineers. How did the Inca, who did not have the wheel for transportation or iron tools for cutting, achieve such a monumental feat? The transportation and placement of these gigantic stones remain a subject of intense debate. Theories range from the ingenious use of ramps, levers, and logs to a more mystical explanation of some kind of lost knowledge or technology. But the real puzzle lies in the stone fitting itself. Imagine trying to cut a stone weighing hundreds of tons with such precision, ensuring it has multiple sides and angles that perfectly align with its neighbors. It is a level of craftsmanship that seems to whisper of a lost art, a mastery of materials and geometry that we have yet to fully understand. Sacsayhuaman is not just a fortress, it is a silent testament to the raw human power and intellectual brilliance of a civilization that we often miscategorize. It is a great stony poem to precision and an enduring challenge to our assumptions about ancient capabilities. But the most famous example of a discovery that seems to exist out of place is undoubtedly the Antikythera Mechanism. Found in a shipwreck off the coast of Greece in 1901, this complex device of intricate bronze gears and dials dates back over 2,000 years. It is often referred to as the world's first analog computer, and for good reason. Imagine a time without mechanical clocks, without complex calculators, without any of the intricate machines we take for granted. Now imagine a device hidden in a wooden case that could predict astronomical positions, track the movements of the sun and moon, and even calculate the timing of the Olympic Games. The complexity of its gear system, its ability to account for the irregular orbits of celestial bodies, and its sheer existence in a time period that we believed to be technologically primitive, fundamentally altered our perception of ancient Greek knowledge. The Antikythera Mechanism is a quiet, powerful reminder that the story of technology is not a straight line. It suggests a lost tradition of mechanical engineering, a level of sophistication that was not seen again in Europe for over 1,000 years. Was it a one-off invention by a single genius? Was it part of a lost school of thought? A branch of knowledge that was simply forgotten? We do not know. The discovery of this device forces us to reconsider the entire narrative of human innovation, to wonder what other great secrets may have been lost to the sands of time. It is a puzzle that with each new study and each new digital reconstruction becomes not simpler, but more beautifully, more profoundly complex. The Antikythera Mechanism is a silent challenge, a call from the deep past to be more humble in our assumptions and more open to the possibility that our ancestors were far more brilliant than we give them credit for. The mysteries of the past don't always come in the form of a complex machine. Sometimes the mystery is simply in the preservation of an artifact, in the resilience of a material that should have crumbled long ago. Consider the incredible strength of ancient Roman concrete. For centuries, the Roman Empire built structures of immense scale and durability, many of which are still standing today. Unlike modern concrete, which begins to crack and deteriorate after a few decades, Roman concrete seems to strengthen over time its volcanic ash-based recipe, making it more resistant to the elements. The exact composition and chemical reactions that give it this enduring quality continue to perplex modern material scientists and engineers who would love to replicate its ancient secret. Another mystery of preservation is the terracotta army in China. Discovered in 1974, this vast collection of thousands of life-sized unique clay soldiers was buried for over 2 millennia. The level of intricate detail, from the unique facial features of each soldier to their elaborate clothing and armor, is astonishing. But the real mystery lies in how they were preserved. The vibrant, colorful paint that once adorned each statue was found to have faded almost instantly upon exposure to the air, leaving us with a beautiful but pale shadow of their original glory. The scientists working on the site have since developed techniques to preserve the remaining pigments, but the original ancient process that kept their colors vibrant for 2,000 years in the dark earth remains a quiet, beautiful puzzle. These are the discoveries that challenge our understanding of history and human development. They are the artifacts that force us to reevaluate our timelines, to question our assumptions about what was technologically possible, and to be more open to the ingenuity of our ancestors. Each unexplained artifact, each baffling sight, is not a sign of our failure to understand, but a beautiful reminder that there is still so much to learn. It is a quiet, powerful force that drives scientific inquiry forward, fueling the ongoing quest for understanding in archaeology and related fields. These are the threads of the story that we have yet to weave the blank pages of a book that is still being written. And in their silent presence, they remind us that the story of humanity is not just a story of what we know, but a story of what we have yet to discover. Let's gently return to our journey through time and space, leaving the perplexing machines and colossal fortresses behind. Tonight we'll allow our thoughts to drift over a different kind of mystery, one etched into the very skin of our planet, a vast and silent canvas stretched across the arid plains of southern Peru. We're going to explore the Nazca Lines not just as a historical site, but as a great silent work of art, a beautiful question carved into the earth, waiting for us to understand it. Imagine standing on a high, windless plateau. The sun is setting, casting long, soft shadows across the landscape. From your vantage point, you can see the earth below, a vast, flat expanse of reddish-brown pebbles. It seems to be a canvas of quiet uniformity, a sleeping giant waiting to be woken. But then, as you look closer, as your eye begins to trace the faintest of outlines, you see them. Enormous, beautiful drawings, geoglyphs of animals, plants, and geometric shapes, some stretching for hundreds of feet. The Nazca Lines are not just a historical site. They are a profound and beautiful question, a whisper from a civilization long gone, waiting for us to understand its meaning. The story of the Nazca Lines is one of a discovery that waited patiently for centuries. For millennia, these remarkable designs remained hidden in plain sight, their true scale and complexity invisible from the ground. It wasn't until the 1930s, with the advent of commercial air travel, that passengers and pilots flying over the Nazca Desert were astonished to see the massive figures sprawled across the landscape below. This aerial perspective, this new way of seeing, revealed a hidden world of art that had been patiently waiting. The discovery of the Nazca Lines in the 20th century was a powerful reminder that our own planet still holds secrets, wonders that can only be appreciated from a new point of view. It was as if the Earth itself had been keeping a secret, a beautiful story that it was finally ready to share. But what makes these lines so enduring? The story of their preservation is as fascinating as their creation. The Nazca Desert is a high, arid plateau with an exceptionally dry, windless climate. With annual rainfall averaging less than an inch, there is minimal water erosion, which would have otherwise worn away the delicate lines over time. The composition of the desert floor also contributes to their longevity. A layer of reddish pebbles sits atop a lighter clay soil. When the top layer of pebbles is removed, the contrast between the dark surface and the light subsurface creates a permanent visible line. The stable climate, the absence of wind erosion, and the sheer remoteness of the area have all conspired to preserve this ancient artwork for millennia, allowing us a fascinating glimpse into the culture and capabilities of the ancient Nazca people. It's a quiet testament to the perfect intersection of human ingenuity and natural conditions, a cosmic coincidence that allowed a work of art to survive for thousands of years. The true mystery, however, lies in how they achieved such a vast scale and such perfect precision without the ability to fly. Imagine trying to draw a perfect hundreds of feet long hummingbird on a giant uneven canvas without being able to see the full picture. The Nazca people did not have aerial technology, so they must have relied on a different kind of genius. Archaeologists believe the Nazca people used surveying techniques with surprisingly simple instruments like stakes and rope. They would have plotted out their designs on a smaller scale, perhaps on a flat piece of ground, and then using a grid system, they would have carefully measured and marked key points to accurately transfer their plans to the desert floor. This level of planning and coordination, even with simple tools, is a mind-boggling feat. It speaks to a level of social organization, a communal will, and a deep understanding of geometry and measurement that we might not have expected from a culture of that time. The creation of the Nazca Lines was not a single solitary act of an artist. It was a collaborative community-wide effort, a monumental undertaking that would have required the coordination of countless individuals. Imagine the rhythm of the work, the quiet chipping away of the pebbles, the slow and patient laying of the ropes, the constant measurement and marking. It was a kind of ritual, a collective act of creation that would have bound the community together, a shared story of a people determined to leave their mark on the world. The precision of these lines is a testament not just to their technical skill, but to their dedication, their patience, and their unwavering vision. The purpose of the Nazca Lines remains a subject of intense debate among scholars, with each theory offering a unique perspective on these ancient geoglyphs. One prominent theory suggests they served as an astronomical calendar. Proponents of this idea argue that the lines and figures align with celestial bodies such as the sun, moon, and certain constellations, potentially helping the Nazca people track seasons and plan their agricultural activities. This theory connects the earthbound designs to the movements of the heavens, implying a sophisticated understanding of astronomy that we often attribute to much later civilizations. It's a beautiful idea that these drawings were a way for an ancient people to have a conversation with the sky, a silent visual dialogue that helped them to navigate their world and their lives. The condor, a massive bird with a wingspan of over 100 meters, might have been used to track the movement of a certain star. The spider, a striking image with its long legs and detailed body, might have been a representation of a constellation. These drawings in this view are not just art. They are a cosmic calendar, a way for an ancient people to understand their place in the great silent turning of the cosmos. Another intriguing hypothesis proposes that the lines were created for religious or ceremonial purposes. Some researchers believe the Nazca people walked along these lines as part of rituals, perhaps to honor their gods or ancestors. The lines in this view are not just meant to be seen, they are meant to be walked. They are a kind of sacred pathway, a pilgrimage route, a quiet meditative journey across the desert floor. The act of walking the lines, of following the path of the hummingbird or the monkey, would have been a profound spiritual experience, a way to connect with the divine. The sheer scale of the designs, visible only from above, has led to speculation that they were meant to be seen by deities looking down from the sky. This interpretation suggests a deep spiritual purpose behind the artwork, a grand silent offering to the heavens. It asks us to imagine a society where the purpose of art was not just for human eyes, but for the eyes of the gods, a testament to a belief system that intertwined the earth and the sky in a profound way. A more recent theory suggests the lines relate to water sources. In the arid Nazca region, water is a matter of life and death. This theory proposes that the geoglyphs might have been used to mark the locations of underground water channels, or to serve as a kind of ritualistic plea for rain, a crucial resource in a challenging environment. This interpretation links the ancient artwork to the practical needs of survival, showcasing the ingenuity of the Nazca civilization in managing scarce resources. It's a compelling idea that the very lines that have captured our imaginations for centuries may have been at their heart a silent prayer for life-giving water, a beautiful, desperate plea for survival etched into the ground. Among the hundreds of geometric shapes and lines, several figures stand out as particularly recognizable and iconic, a menagerie of desert creatures and celestial beings. The hummingbird, as we've mentioned, is a masterpiece of graceful lines and perfect proportions. The monkey with its spiraling tail and playful pose is another familiar figure, a quiet, joyful presence in the silent desert. The spider with its long legs and detailed body is a striking image, a delicate, fragile thing drawn on a grand scale. And the condor, a massive bird with a wingspan of over 100 meters, is a breathtaking sight, a testament to the awe-inspiring power of nature. But there are also figures that defy easy explanation, such as the astronaut, a curious humanoid figure with a large owl-like head that has sparked numerous theories about its meaning and origin. These recognizable figures, along with depictions of a dog, a tree, and various sea creatures, form a mysterious tapestry across the Nazca Desert. Their purpose and creation methods continue to be subjects of intense study and speculation, adding to the allure of these ancient geoglyphs, the Nazca Lines. While perhaps the most famous are not alone in their mystery, similar ancient ground drawings and patterns have been discovered in various parts of the world, each with its own unique characteristics and secrets. In the United States, the Blythe intaglios in California feature enormous human and animal figures etched into the desert floor. Across the Atlantic, the United Kingdom boasts several notable geoglyphs, including the Uffington White Horse, a stylized horse figure carved into a hillside and filled with white chalk dating back to the Bronze Age. In Australia, a more modern but equally mysterious geoglyph, the Marie Man, was discovered in 1998, a vast figure of an indigenous hunter whose origins are still unknown. These global examples of earth art demonstrate a shared human fascination with large-scale symbolic drawings, a common thread of expression that runs through many different ancient cultures. They remind us that the impulse to create, to leave a mark on the earth, is a fundamental part of our shared human story. The Nazca Lines continue to captivate researchers and visitors alike, offering a mysterious glimpse into an ancient civilization's beliefs and capabilities. Their sheer size and precision continue to amaze us, serving as a testament to human ingenuity and the enduring power of art. The lines are a quiet, powerful reminder that there are still wonders waiting to be uncovered on our own planet, and that our quest for understanding is an ongoing process, a continuous story that we are all a part of. The Nazca Lines are not just a mystery. They are an invitation to see our past through a new lens, to be more open to the possibility that our ancestors were far more brilliant and far more connected to their world and the cosmos than we have ever imagined. So let's allow ourselves to rest in this quiet, beautiful mystery, a story told not in words, but in lines etched into the very heart of the earth. Let's continue our quiet journey, gently turning our attention from the etched designs of the desert to a different kind of ancient mystery, perfect spheres. We have seen how ancient people could create monumental art that speaks to the sky. But what about the impulse to create something simple, something perfectly round, something that seems to hold a quiet, unyielding secret? Tonight, we'll drift into the story of the enigmatic stone spheres of Costa Rica and the larger global family of these curious objects. Imagine a tropical landscape, lush with green jungle, the air thick with the sound of insects and birds. An archaeologist is sifting through the earth, the ground beneath them, once the heart of a vibrant pre-Columbian civilization. They are looking for fragments of pottery, for signs of ancient homes, for the quiet whispers of a lost people. And then they find it, a perfectly round sphere of stone, then another, and another. These spheres are not just smooth, they are astonishingly precise, their curvature so perfect that they seem to defy the very notion of ancient, hand-carved art. They range in size from as small as a baseball to as large as a compact car, with the biggest known sphere reaching an impressive 8 feet across and weighing a staggering 16 tons. The sheer precision of their craftsmanship, regardless of their size, continues to amaze archaeologists and visitors alike. The first of these spheres came to light in the 1930s, during a time when the United Fruit Company was clearing land in the Diquís Delta region of Costa Rica for banana plantations. As the workers pushed back the dense jungle, they discovered hundreds of these mysterious stone balls scattered across the landscape. The discovery sparked a wave of curiosity and debate, but the true scope of the mystery was not fully understood until later. We have since learned that these spheres were a product of the ancient Diquís culture, a people who lived in the region from about 200 BCE to 800 CEE. We can date the spheres, we can identify the people who made them, but we are left with the most profound question of all: why? The purpose of the stone spheres remains a subject of intense debate, with no definitive answer agreed upon. The lack of written records from the cultures that created them has left us with a silent, beautiful puzzle. One prominent theory suggests that these spheres served as astronomical tools. Proponents argue that the precise positioning of some of the spheres in relation to each other and to certain celestial alignments may have been used to track the movements of the sun, moon, and stars, or to mark important solar and lunar events. It's a beautiful idea that these quiet solid stones were a kind of ancient observatory, a way for an ancient people to have a conversation with the cosmos, a dialogue that helped them to navigate their world. Another intriguing hypothesis proposes that the stone spheres were symbols of power and prestige. Imagine the immense effort required to craft a perfectly rounded 16-ton stone without modern machinery. It would have required a huge amount of labor skill and coordination. By creating these monumental spheres, a leader or a community could have demonstrated their technological prowess and their control over resources. The spheres in this view are a kind of quiet boast, a physical manifestation of a civilization's strength and artistic skill. They are a testament to the abilities of their creators, a silent, powerful reminder of a culture that was far more sophisticated than we give it credit for. Some researchers believe the spheres may have played a role in religious or spiritual practices, perhaps representing cosmic bodies or serving as focal points for rituals. The perfect roundness of the spheres might have been seen as a symbol of the sun, the moon, or the planets, a way to bring the cosmos down to Earth. There are also hypotheses that the spheres functioned as territorial markers, delineating boundaries between different groups or signifying important locations. This theory is bolstered by the distribution patterns of the spheres in some regions, but it does not account for the sheer number of them or the meticulous effort that went into their creation. While these theories offer intriguing possibilities, the true purpose of the stone spheres remains a beautiful mystery. The lack of a single definitive answer is a quiet reminder that our understanding of the past is incomplete, a work in progress that is constantly being rewritten with each new discovery. And in their silence, in their perfect unyielding roundness, they invite us to simply wonder about the people who made them, to feel a sense of connection to their lives, their beliefs, and their enduring mystery. The story of the stone spheres of Costa Rica, while fascinating, is not a unique one. Spherical objects have been discovered in various locations around the globe, each with its own unique characteristics and mysteries. In South America, particularly in Chile and Argentina, researchers have unearthed stone balls that bear a striking resemblance to those found in Costa Rica. These South American spheres, often called cannonball concretions, are believed to be naturally formed. Their perfect roundness, a product of geological processes over millions of years. Moving across the Atlantic, we find another intriguing example on Champ Island, a remote island in the Russian Arctic. Here, hundreds of stone spheres, some as large as 9 feet in diameter, are scattered across the landscape. These Arctic spheres, like their South African counterparts, are also believed to be a natural formation, a testament to the diverse and fascinating ways geological forces can shape our planet's landscape. This global occurrence of stone spheres, some human-made and some natural adds, another layer of complexity to our story. It forces us to ask a new kind of question. What is the difference between a naturally occurring sphere and a human-made one? Is the true mystery not in the object itself, but in the human impulse to create a perfect circle? The precision achieved by the artisans of the Dikis culture, using only stone tools and immense patience, is a profound and beautiful thing. It is a testament to the raw power of human creativity, the desire to impose order onto a chaotic world, a desire that seems to echo across continents and through the ages. So let's take a final moment to rest in this story of the enigmatic stone spheres. We've seen how they challenge our understanding of ancient capabilities, how they spark intense debate about their purpose, and how they connect us to a global human impulse to create. In their silent, perfect roundness, they hold a story that we may never fully understand, a story that is as vast and as beautiful as the cosmos itself. The spheres are a quiet, beautiful puzzle that they left for us to solve, and perhaps in the end, the solving of the puzzle is not the point. Perhaps the point is the journey, the quiet contemplation, the sense of wonder that comes from knowing that the story of our past is still being written, and that with each new discovery, with each new mystery, it becomes not a simpler story, but a more beautiful one. Let's turn our gaze to a different kind of mystery, one that is not etched into the earth or shaped into a perfect sphere, but one of intricate metal and brilliant thought. We've seen how monumental art and colossal stones can puzzle us. But what about a machine? A machine so complex, so far ahead of its time, that its very existence fundamentally changes our perception of ancient history. Tonight, we'll drift into the story of the Antikythera Mechanism, a masterpiece of ancient engineering that whispers of a lost tradition of knowledge and a sophistication of thought that we are only just beginning to appreciate. The story of the Antikythera Mechanism is one of serendipity and a patient, methodical unfolding of a great secret. It begins in the autumn of 1900 with a group of Greek sponge divers seeking shelter from a sudden storm who found themselves drifting over a quiet shipwreck off the coast of the small island of Antikythera. At a depth of 140 feet, a world of ancient history lay waiting for them in the silent, watery darkness. They found a Roman cargo ship laden with a trove of treasures, marble statues, pottery, and other priceless artifacts. It was a rich and beautiful find, a glimpse into a world of trade and art that was long forgotten. But among these familiar relics, one object stood out, though its true nature was entirely hidden. It was a corroded, unassuming lump of bronze, no bigger than a shoebox, a thing that seemed to hold a secret far more precious than gold or marble. The divers, seeing only a piece of rock and rusted metal, simply brought it to the surface as an interesting curio. For decades, this strange lump of bronze sat in a museum, its true nature hidden by the ravages of time and the incrustation of the sea. It was a quiet, unassuming object, one that seemed to offer no story, no secret. Its delicate gears and dials were fused together, a single solid mass of mystery. It wasn't until the 1970s that scientists began to truly unravel its secret, using the new technologies of X-ray and gamma-ray imaging to peer inside its delicate fragmented structure. It was a bit like trying to read a secret letter that had been sealed for 2 millennia without ever having to break the seal. The results were astonishing. Inside the lump of bronze was a complex system of at least 30 intricate gears, a mechanical marvel of unparalleled sophistication. This was not a simple tool. It was a machine that was more complex than any other device found from its era, a marvel that would not be replicated in Europe for over 1,000 years. The age of the Antikythera Mechanism, which has been carbon dated to around 150-100 BCE, is particularly significant. It places its creation in the late Hellenistic period, a time we typically associate with great philosophical thought and brilliant artistic expression, but not with such advanced mechanical engineering. Before this discovery, our story of technological progression was a quiet, linear one with each new invention building logically on the last. But the existence of this device fundamentally altered that story. It suggested a depth of knowledge in mathematics, astronomy, and engineering that far exceeded what we had previously thought possible. It's as if a great secret, a beautiful tradition of mechanical genius, had existed in the shadows, a quiet whisper that was carried on a single fateful ship, only to be revealed by a twist of fate in the quiet depths of the Aegean Sea. But what did this machine do? Its primary function was to serve as a kind of analog computer, a device to predict astronomical positions and eclipses with remarkable accuracy. Imagine a device that was in essence a cosmic clock, a kind of ancient map where you could not only see the stars and planets, but could also rewind and fast forward time to see where they would be in the future. The front dial of the mechanism was a beautiful display of this cosmic dance. It tracked the movements of the Sun, the Moon, and the 5 known planets, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. A small rotating sphere for the Moon and a pin for the Sun would have moved across a dial marked with the zodiac and the calendar year. This dial was not a simple one. It accounted for the fact that the Sun and Moon move at slightly different speeds across the sky, a subtle, beautiful detail that speaks to a deep, sophisticated understanding of celestial mechanics. The back dials of the mechanism were even more impressive, a hidden layer of genius that revealed its true power. One of these dials could calculate the timing of significant celestial events, including solar and lunar eclipses. The ancient Greeks, like many cultures, would have seen eclipses as powerful, often supernatural events, but the mind that built this machine saw them as predictable as a product of a predictable, beautiful cosmic clockwork. The mechanism could predict when and where these eclipses would occur, a kind of ancient wizardry that was based entirely on mathematics and observation. This was not a device built for fear, but for understanding, a tool to bring the mysterious and often terrifying power of the heavens into the realm of human knowledge. The other back dial was even more of a quiet surprise. It was a calendar that tracked the timing of the ancient Olympic Games, a profound and beautiful connection between the cosmic and the cultural. The creators of this device were not just interested in the stars. They were interested in their own lives, their own rituals, their own stories. The machine was a bridge between the grand silent movements of the heavens and the loud, passionate human world of athletic competition. It was a testament to a culture that saw no real separation between the cosmos and the human condition, a beautiful, holistic view of the universe that we often struggle to recapture today. The genius of the Antikythera mechanism is further highlighted by its ability to account for the irregularities of celestial motion. It incorporated advanced mathematical concepts, such as the Metonic cycle, a 19-year period, after which the phases of the moon recur on the same dates, and it even mimicked the moon's elliptical path around Earth. This was not a device built by a simple craftsman. It was a device built by a brilliant mind, a mind that understood the complex, subtle movements of the heavens and could translate that understanding into a physical, mechanical reality. It was a bridge between abstract scientific theory and concrete technological innovation, a blurring of the lines that we often assume existed between a philosopher and an engineer. The complexity of its gear ratios, the meticulous attention to detail, and the profound elegance of its design all speak to a level of genius that is almost overwhelming to contemplate. This incredible machine raises a profound question: who created it? And was it a singular invention, or was it part of a lost tradition of knowledge? While no definitive answer exists, several theories have been proposed. One prominent theory suggests that the renowned Greek mathematician and astronomer Hipparchus of Rhodes might have been involved in its design. Hipparchus, who lived in the 2nd century BCE, was known for his significant contributions to trigonometry and his accurate models of lunar and solar motions, making him a compelling candidate. Another theory proposes that the mechanism could have been created by the school of Posidonius, a Greek philosopher and astronomer who had a school on the island of Rhodes, a center of astronomical and engineering knowledge at the time. Some researchers have even suggested that the mechanism might be the work of Archimedes, the famous Greek mathematician and inventor, or his followers, though the timeline for Archimedes is slightly earlier than the mechanism's creation date. The fact that the creator remains a mystery is in itself a powerful part of the story. It reminds us that our history is not just a story of famous names and great empires, but a story of quiet geniuses and lost traditions of brilliance that existed in the shadows, only to be discovered by a twist of fate. The discovery of the Antikythera Mechanism also forces us to confront a profound gap in our historical narrative. Its sophistication suggests that similar devices might have existed, yet no comparable artifacts have been found from the same time period. This raises a quiet, troubling question. What happened to this tradition of knowledge? Why did a civilization that could create such a complex, precise machine seem to lose the ability to do so for over 1,000 years? The mechanism's existence implies that there may have been a more advanced tradition of mechanical engineering in the Hellenistic period than we previously recognized, a branch of knowledge that was simply forgotten or lost in the turmoil of history. This gap in the archaeological record is not a failure. It is a beautiful invitation to wonder, to reconsider the extent of ancient Greek technological achievements, and to ponder the reasons for the apparent regression in mechanical expertise in subsequent centuries. The mechanism is a reminder that the story of human innovation is not a straight, predictable line, but a complex, intricate tapestry full of forgotten threads, lost traditions, and brilliant, beautiful surprises. And as we continue to unravel its secrets with the latest imaging technologies and digital reconstructions, we are not just learning about the past. We are learning about the profound and often mysterious power of the human mind to create, to innovate, and to wonder. Let's now gently move our thoughts to a different kind of mystery, one that exists not in the physical world, but in the shadowy, beautiful realm of myth and legend. We've explored machines and monoliths, the tangible puzzles left by ancient hands. But what about the stories whispered through the ages, tales of great cities and brilliant civilizations that vanished without a trace? Tonight, we'll drift into the legendary story of Atlantis, a myth that has captivated human imagination for millennia, and the quiet, persistent search for a lost world. This story, unlike our others, is not a physical object we can hold in our hands, but a powerful ethereal presence, a ghost story on the map, a shadow cast across the pages of history that we simply cannot ignore. The story of Atlantis originates not from a crumbling wall or a broken pot, but from the words of a single ancient voice, the Greek philosopher Plato. In his dialogues, Timaeus and Critias composed around 360 BCE. Plato described Atlantis as a powerful, advanced island nation that existed over 9,000 years before his time. He placed it beyond the Pillars of Hercules, a location we now know as the Strait of Gibraltar, out in the vast open expanse of the Atlantic Ocean. This was not a simple, vague description. Plato's account painted a vivid picture of a utopian civilization, a people of remarkable technological and architectural achievements, with a magnificent capital city of concentric walls and canals. Imagine a city where bridges and causeways connected rings of land and water, where the air was filled with the scents of lush gardens, and the buildings were made of black and red stone, adorned with precious metals. The Atlanteans were said to be a prosperous people, rich in natural resources, and ruled by kings who were descended from the god Poseidon himself. It was, in Plato's telling, a golden age of human civilization, a peak of human potential, a paradise that was lost to time. But the story, as all good myths do, takes a dramatic and tragic turn. Plato recounts how the Atlanteans in their prosperity and power became corrupt and greedy, their once utopian society succumbing to hubris and the desire for conquest. they embarked on a campaign against other nations, eventually coming into conflict with the ancient Athenians. Their downfall, however, was not at the hands of the Athenians, but at the hands of the gods. Displeased with the Atlanteans' moral decay and their insatiable ambition, the gods purportedly punished the island nation by causing it to sink into the ocean in a single day and night of misfortune, vanishing forever beneath the waves. It is a captivating tale, a powerful allegory about the dangers of hubris and the cyclical nature of human rise and fall. Plato's purpose, many scholars believe, was not to describe a real place, but to use this mythical civilization as a philosophical tool to convey his ideas about the ideal society and the consequences of moral corruption. And yet, despite its likely fictional origins, the legend itself has taken on a life of its own. It has become a symbol of lost knowledge, of advanced technology, of a hidden past that we long to uncover. The idea that an entire brilliant civilization could simply disappear without a trace taps into our deepest fears of catastrophic events and our enduring fascination with the unknown. The myth of Atlantis endures because it serves as a canvas for our hopes, our fears, and our speculations. It is a story that appeals to the part of us that believes in the possibility of a past more brilliant than our own, a longing for a golden age that we feel we have lost. The myth is not just about a city, it is about an idea. The idea of a better, purer, more advanced human past that was destroyed by a fatal flaw. A story that resonates deeply with our own anxieties about the future. The ongoing search for Atlantis, despite the lack of any concrete evidence, is a testament to the power of this myth. It has inspired countless books, movies, expeditions, and theories about its possible location. These searches, these quests, are a kind of historical detective work, a quiet, relentless hope that one day we will unearth evidence of this lost civilization and rewrite our history books. Some popular hypotheses, for example, place Atlantis in the Mediterranean Sea, specifically in the region of the Santorini Islands, pointing to the advanced Minoan civilization that existed there before a catastrophic volcanic eruption. This theory suggests that the myth might be a folk memory of a real-world disaster, a story that was passed down and embellished over thousands of years, a kind of telephone game played across the ages. This hypothesis, though not a perfect match for Plato's description, has the benefit of being rooted in a real historical event, a cataclysmic eruption that could have, in a single day and night, destroyed a brilliant and beautiful civilization. It is a compelling idea, a gentle bridge between myth and reality. Another widely discussed theory, one that aligns with Plato's original description, suggests that Atlantis might have been located in the Atlantic Ocean, possibly near the Strait of Gibraltar. Proponents of this theory have pointed to specific underwater formations or geological features that they believe could be the remnants of the lost city. Some researchers have even proposed that the legendary city could be the city of Tartessos, an ancient harbor city mentioned in Greek and Roman sources, which was located in what is now Spain and was known for its wealth and advanced metallurgy. Other more controversial theories place Atlantis in far-flung and exotic locations from the Caribbean to Antarctica, a testament to the fact that when a story is powerful enough, we will search for it everywhere. Archaeologists, however, approach this search with a combination of scientific rigor and historical analysis. While many consider Atlantis to be a mythical place, some researchers continue to investigate the possibility of its existence. They use advanced technology like sonar mapping and satellite imagery to scan the seafloor for potential underwater structures, looking for any anomalies that could indicate a sunken city. They study geological evidence of ancient natural disasters, such as earthquakes and tsunamis, comparing this data with historical accounts and cultural myths from various coastal societies. But despite these efforts, no conclusive evidence of Atlantis has ever been found. No sunken city with concentric rings, no artifacts with Atlantean inscriptions, no definitive proof has ever surfaced. This lack of physical evidence leads most archaeologists to conclude that Plato's account was indeed a philosophical allegory, a cautionary tale about the consequences of corruption and greed. The beauty of the Atlantis story lies not in its historical truth, but in its profound and enduring influence. The search for Atlantis, while it has yet to yield a lost city, has led to valuable discoveries about real-world ancient maritime cultures and geological events. It has driven the development of new underwater archaeological methods and technologies. In a way, the myth of Atlantis, though a beautiful fiction, has been a powerful force for scientific discovery, a silent guide that has led us to a deeper understanding of our world and our past. It's a profound thought that a story about a lost world could in the end help us to find and understand our own. The myth of Atlantis has left an indelible mark on popular culture and literature, a testament to its enduring appeal. It has been a fertile ground for storytelling, inspiring countless books, movies, television shows, and video games. Authors like Jules Verne, in his novel 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, and Arthur Conan Doyle in The Lost World, drew inspiration from the myth-weaving tales of underwater adventures and hidden realms. More recently, the Atlantis legend has been blended with science fiction or fantasy elements, creating compelling narratives that reflect our hopes and fears about the unknown. The influence of Atlantis extends beyond books into visual media, with numerous films and animated features depicting it as a technologically advanced civilization with mystical properties, fueling our fascination with the idea of a lost golden age. In the realm of video games and comic books, Atlantis has become a persistent presence, a place to explore a secret, to uncover a mystery to solve. This widespread presence in our modern cultural landscape ensures that the legend of Atlantis remains a persistent and evolving part of our shared story. Ultimately, the myth of Atlantis is a quiet reminder that our pursuit of knowledge is not just about what is real, but also about what is possible. It is a story that challenges us to think about our own society, about the dangers of hubris, and about the fragility of our own civilization. It is a story that encourages us to continue to explore and to discover, not just for the sake of finding a lost city, but for the sake of understanding ourselves, our past, and our future. The enduring legend of Atlantis is a beautiful, powerful riddle, a mystery that we may never solve, but one that will continue to inspire us to look to the horizon and to wonder about the secrets that lie hidden beneath the waves. Let's now gently move our thoughts to another kind of mystery, one that is not a grand monument or a lost city, but a quiet, fragile book filled with secrets. We've explored machines and myths, the tangible and the ethereal puzzles of our past. Tonight, we'll drift into the story of the Voynich manuscript, a book that defies translation, a ghost of a language that whispers of a lost purpose. It is in a way a time capsule of human thought, sealed with a lock that no one, not even our most brilliant minds, has yet been able to open. The Voynich manuscript is one of the most perplexing and mysterious documents in history. It dates back to the early 15th century, a time of great intellectual and cultural change in Europe. And yet, it seems to have a story all its own, a quiet personal saga that has no beginning and no end. Named after Wilfrid Voynich, the Polish book dealer who acquired it in 1912. The manuscript is a humble-looking book filled with over 200 pages of strange illustrations and text, written in an unknown, completely unreadable script. The moment you open its pages, you are transported into a world that feels both familiar and entirely alien. You see drawings of plants, but they are not plants that exist on our Earth. You see astronomical diagrams, but they do not correspond to our known constellations. And you see human figures, often women, in peculiar, unexplained poses. It's a book that tells you everything and nothing at all, a quiet, beautiful riddle that lives within its own pages. The physical book itself is a marvel of its age. Its pages are made of vellum, a fine parchment made from calfskin, which has allowed it to survive for centuries. The ink used to write the strange flowing script is a beautiful dark brown, and the illustrations are colored with vibrant, though faded pigments. The book is divided into distinct sections. each one a window into a different mysterious world. The first is the botanical section filled with detailed drawings of plants, many of which do not correspond to any known species on Earth. These illustrations often feature peculiar intricate root systems that look like tangled webs, or strange spidery legs and flowers that resemble stars, or geometric shapes. It's a world of flora that seems to exist only in the author's mind, a quiet dream of a lost garden. Next, you enter the astronomical section, a series of circular diagrams and charts that are meant to represent the heavens. But like the plants, these charts do not align with our known night sky. They depict celestial bodies that we do not recognize, zodiac symbols that are arranged in unconventional ways, and strange circular patterns that seem to be a map of a forgotten universe. It is as if the author was observing a different sky, a different set of stars, or a different set of beliefs about the cosmos. It's a map of a world that we can almost see, but that remains forever just out of our reach. Then comes the most deeply personal and enigmatic section, the biological or balneological section. The pages here are filled with drawings of female figures, often small and intertwined with each other, sometimes immersed in what appear to be pools or baths, connected by a network of strange green pipes. This section, more than any other, feels like a private ritual, a glimpse into a world of medicine, fertility, or spiritual practice that we can only guess at. It is a quiet, intimate mystery, a story about the human body and its relationship to the world that has been lost to time. The manuscript also contains sections that appear to be a kind of pharmaceutical or recipes book, with drawings of strange jars, pipes, and other apparatus, hinting at an alchemical or medicinal purpose. These illustrations, like the rest of the manuscript, remain enigmatic, their true meaning and purpose still eluding researchers, despite centuries of study and speculation. The Voynich manuscript is not just a book. It is 1,000 different books, all bound into one, each section. A new mystery, a new puzzle that begs to be solved. The true mystery of the Voynich manuscript lies in its unbreakable code. Despite numerous attempts by linguists, cryptographers, and even artificial intelligence, no one has successfully decrypted its contents. It is as if the book is written in a language that was created just for it, a private code between its author and the unknown. This resilience against decoding has led some to speculate that the text might be an elaborate hoax, a clever fabrication created to deceive and to impress. But there are compelling arguments against this theory. The sheer length of the manuscript, over 200 pages, and the consistent language-like statistical properties of the text suggest that it is not a simple collection of random symbols. It exhibits patterns of word frequency and structure that resemble those found in real natural languages, defying conventional linguistic analysis. If it is a hoax of such monumental complexity and genius that it becomes in itself a kind of wonder. It would be a work of art so profound that it transcends its original purpose and becomes a mystery for the ages. But what if it is not a hoax? What if it is a real language, but a language that we simply do not know? This is a profound and beautiful thought. It's the idea that the book holds a secret of a lost language that was perhaps spoken by a single small group of people, or a kind of lingua franca of an ancient school of thought. This theory, more than any other, speaks to the heart of the mystery. It is the idea that the book is not a trick, but a treasure, a lone voice from a lost civilization that is waiting for us to learn how to listen. The Voynich manuscript is not the only undeciphered text in the world. Our planet is home to many such mysteries, languages that have been lost to time, scripts that defy translation. In Egypt, the hieroglyphic Linen Book of Zagreb remains a mystery with its unusual hieroglyphs, baffling linguists. In Central America, the enigmatic writing system of the Olmec civilization continues to perplex scholars. In Europe, the Etruscan language, though its alphabet is known, still guards many of its secrets, a silent poem of a lost culture. And in Asia, the Indus Valley script, consisting of intricate symbols found on seals and pottery, has resisted decryption for over a century, leaving the details of a great Bronze Age civilization shrouded in mystery. These undeciphered texts, each a quiet monument to a lost civilization, are a powerful reminder that our past is filled with stories we may never be able to read, voices that have been silenced by the passage of time. The Voynich manuscript has cast a long shadow over modern literature and popular culture, a testament to its enduring mystery. Its undeciphered text and strange illustrations have sparked countless theories and inspired numerous creative works. In literature, the manuscript has become a popular subject for historical fiction and thrillers, with authors weaving intricate plots around its origins and potential meanings. The influence of the Voynich manuscript extends beyond books into other media, with television shows and films featuring storylines centered on the manuscript, often depicting it as a repository of ancient wisdom or dangerous secrets. In the realm of popular science and pseudoscience, the manuscript has become a favorite topic for documentaries and online discussions. Its resistance to decryption, making it a compelling subject for those interested in codes, linguistics, and historical mysteries. This ongoing intrigue ensures that the Voynich manuscript continues to captivate imaginations and inspire new interpretations in our modern cultural landscape. Ultimately, the Voynich manuscript is a beautiful, powerful riddle, a mystery that we may never solve, but in its existence we find a profound comfort. It is a quiet, gentle reminder that there is still so much to learn, so many secrets to uncover, so many stories that are waiting to be told. The book is a testament to the ingenuity of its creator, a symbol of a lost language, a lost thought, a lost world. And in its silence, in its unyielding mystery, it invites us to simply wonder, to sit with the unknown, and to appreciate the beauty of a puzzle that may never be solved. It is a quiet, beautiful thing, a gift from the past, a book of 1,000 mysteries that we are, in a very real sense, still reading. Let's now gently shift our focus to a mystery that stands not in the silent desert or in the deep, dark ocean, but under the watchful eye of history itself. We've spoken of machines and manuscripts, of the puzzles that were lost to time. Tonight, we'll drift into the story of a monument that has stood for millennia, a silent, stony sphinx that holds within its gaze a profound and quiet controversy. We're going to explore the Great Sphinx of Giza, a colossal statue that we thought we knew everything about, only to discover it may have secrets far older than its conventional story suggests. The Great Sphinx is an iconic image of ancient Egypt, a colossal statue with the head of a human and the body of a lion, carved from a single immense piece of limestone bedrock. For most of modern history, we have placed its construction firmly in the Old Kingdom period, during the reign of Pharaoh Khafra, around 2500 BCE. This dating aligns with the established chronology of ancient Egyptian civilization, and is supported by a wealth of archaeological evidence from the surrounding area. The face of the Sphinx is believed to be a portrait of Khafra himself, a silent, stony representation of a powerful king. Its placement near his pyramid and valley temple, which are part of the same monumental building complex, suggests it was all part of a single grand vision. The Sphinx in this story is a guardian, a silent sentinel watching over the sacred Giza plateau, a testament to the power and wealth of the pharaohs, and a symbol of their divine right to rule. It is a familiar, beautiful story, one that has been told for centuries, but like a shadow cast by the setting sun, a new and powerful theory has emerged, one that challenges this long-held belief and forces us to look at the Sphinx with new eyes. This is the water erosion hypothesis, a controversial idea that suggests the Sphinx is much, much older than traditionally believed. The proponents of this theory, most notably the independent Egyptologist John Anthony West and geologist Robert Schoch, point to the weathering patterns on the Sphinx and its enclosure walls. They argue that the deep vertical fissures on the body of the Sphinx are not consistent with wind and sand erosion, which typically produces a more horizontal layered pattern. Imagine the desert wind, a constant patient force, sandblasting the monument for millennia. This process would logically create a kind of horizontal striping, a gentle layered wear that follows the natural grain of the stone. But the erosion on the Sphinx is not like that. It is vertical, undulating a pattern that looks far more like the relentless patient work of falling water. Schock, a geologist by training, argued that these vertical fissures are characteristic of prolonged exposure to heavy rainfall, a kind of erosion that could only have occurred during a time when the climate in Egypt was much wetter. Imagine Egypt not as the arid desert we know today, but as a lush green landscape, a place with a climate that was far more prone to heavy rainfall. According to the geological record, the last time Egypt experienced such a wet climate was thousands of years ago, between 10,000 and 5,000 BCE, long before the rise of dynastic Egypt and the pharaohs. If the water erosion hypothesis is correct, it would push the age of the Sphinx back by several millennia, placing its construction in a time before any known advanced civilization in the region. This is a quiet, powerful thought. It would mean that the Sphinx was not a product of the Old Kingdom, but a silent, mysterious monument from a much earlier, unknown civilization. It would mean that a civilization capable of such a monumental feat existed in Egypt at a time when we believe humans were still hunter-gatherers. It is a thought that in its beautiful, profound simplicity upends our entire historical narrative. The debate between geologists and archaeologists has been a lively one, a beautiful intellectual clash of ideas that speaks to the heart of scientific inquiry. Mainstream Egyptologists counter the water erosion hypothesis by arguing that other factors could explain the erosion patterns, such as the specific quality of the limestone, which is known to be inconsistent in its hardness, or the occasional heavy rains that still occur in the region, which could have been more frequent in the past. They also point to the lack of any credible archaeological evidence for an advanced civilization in Egypt capable of creating such a monumental structure at the proposed earlier date. The Sphinx stands alone in its mystery, a solitary puzzle with no other pieces to help us understand it. The debate is a perfect example of how a single physical piece of evidence can be interpreted in different ways, and how our own preconceived notions of history can shape our conclusions. It is not a simple choice between a right and a wrong answer, but a continuous search for a truth that remains just out of reach. This controversy has had a profound impact on our understanding of the Sphinx. It has transformed it from a simple known monument into a living, breathing mystery. The Sphinx is no longer just a portrait of a pharaoh. It is a silent, stony question, a riddle etched into the earth that asks us to reconsider everything we thought we knew. The debate has also highlighted the challenges of dating ancient monuments and the potential for new discoveries to reshape our understanding of human history. The Sphinx's eroded face, once thought to be a simple portrait of a pharaoh, is now in the quiet light of this controversy, a face that holds within its gaze a profound and enduring mystery. It is a quiet testament to the fact that even the most familiar objects can hold the most profound secrets, and that sometimes the biggest truths are found in the most subtle of details, like a simple erosion pattern on a stone wall. The Sphinx's story is not just one of age and erosion. Alternative theories about its purpose and symbolism have also emerged, each one a different story we can tell about this enigmatic monument. One intriguing theory suggests that the Sphinx predates the pyramids and was originally carved with the head of a lion, representing the constellation Leo. Proponents of this idea argue that the monument was later recarved into a human face, possibly during the reign of Khafre, a quiet act of historical reappropriation. This theory ties the Sphinx to ancient astronomical knowledge and suggests it may have served as a marker for celestial events, a kind of cosmic compass that helped an ancient people navigate their world and understand their place in the great silent turning of the cosmos. This idea, while still a theory, adds a new beautiful layer of meaning to the monument, transforming it from a simple guardian into a cosmic calendar. Another perspective proposes that the Sphinx was built as a guardian figure protecting the Giza Plateau, and its royal tombs from evil spirits. Some researchers have drawn parallels between the Sphinx and other mythological hybrid creatures found in ancient cultures, suggesting it might represent a fusion of human wisdom and animal strength. This theory, while it doesn't challenge the age of the Sphinx, adds another layer of profound, beautiful meaning to its silent, stony presence. It is a story about the intersection of the human and the divine, a silent, powerful reminder of a belief system that saw no real separation between the two. The story of the Great Sphinx of Giza is, in the end, a story about the fragile, beautiful nature of history itself. It is a story about how a single powerful theory can turn a known fact into a profound mystery. How a simple observation of erosion can challenge our entire timeline of human civilization. The Sphinx stands as a silent, unyielding monument to the idea that our past is not a static, dead thing. It is a living, breathing story, constantly being revised and refined with each new discovery, each new theory, each new question we ask. And in its silent, stony presence, it invites us to be more humble in our assumptions, more open to the possibility that our past is far more brilliant and far more mysterious than we have ever imagined. The Sphinx is not a failure of our science. It is a beautiful gift from the past, an invitation to keep looking and to keep wondering. Let's now gently guide our thoughts to a different kind of mystery. One that isn't a single object or a single monument, but a testament to the raw organizational power of ancient human societies. We've spoken of the Sphinx and its age, and of the enigmatic stone spheres. Tonight we'll drift into the stories of three architectural marvels that each in their own way force us to completely rethink the capabilities of ancient builders. These are not just buildings. They are quiet, stony poems to human ingenuity, feats of engineering, that whisper of a past far more complex than we ever imagined. They are the great silent libraries of a lost knowledge waiting for us to learn how to read them. First, let's travel to the highlands of Peru, to the ancient Incan site of Sacsayhuaman. Imagine standing on a hill overlooking the city of Cusco, the air thin and cool against your skin. This was once the heart of the great Inca Empire, and the fortress before you, built of massive multi-ton stones, feels like the silent, stony heart of that lost civilization. The walls are not built with mortar and simple bricks, but with enormous stone blocks, some weighing up to 100 tons, each one cut and shaped with such astonishing precision that they fit together like a perfect three-dimensional jigsaw puzzle. The skill of the Incan masons, their mastery of materials and geometry, is a kind of genius that is almost overwhelming to contemplate. They did not have iron tools, nor did they have the wheel. They were working with the most basic of implements, stone hammers, bronze chisels, and a profound, quiet understanding of their materials. And yet they achieved a level of precision that we, with all our modern technology, would struggle to replicate. The mystery of Sacsayhuaman is not just in its scale, but in its execution. How did the Inca move and position these gigantic stones? The transportation and placement of these colossal blocks remain a subject of intense debate, a great puzzle that we continue to try and solve. Theories range from the ingenious use of ramps, levers, and logs, to the idea that massive amounts of manpower coordinated with a deep understanding of physics and engineering were used to slowly and patiently move each stone into place. This feat of engineering is a testament to the raw human power and intellectual brilliance of a civilization that we often underestimate. It speaks to a level of social organization that is breathtaking to consider. Imagine the sheer number of people, the coordination, the planning, the patience that would have been required for such a monumental task. The construction of Sacsayhuaman was not just a building project. It was a collective act of will, a profound, quiet statement of a civilization's power and vision. But the real puzzle, the quiet, persistent question that haunts archaeologists, lies in the stone fitting itself. Imagine trying to cut a stone weighing hundreds of tons with such precision, ensuring it has multiple sides and angles that perfectly align with its neighbors. The stones interlock so tightly that not even a thin knife blade can be inserted between them. This is the hallmark of ashlar masonry, a construction technique that seems to whisper of a lost art, a mastery of geometry and patience that we have yet to fully understand. Sacsayhuaman is not just a fortress. It is a silent, stony testament to the raw human power and intellectual brilliance of a civilization that saw their own lives as an intimate part of a greater cosmic order. The fortress in its perfect silent stonework is a quiet, powerful poem to a lost art, an enduring challenge to our assumptions about ancient capabilities. Now let's journey across the world to the quiet rolling hills of southeastern Turkey, to a site that has completely rewritten our understanding of early human history. This is Göbekli Tepe, a complex of massive T-shaped stone pillars that dates back to the 10th millennium BCE. Imagine that a monumental temple, built thousands of years before the Egyptian pyramids and Stonehenge, a time when we believed humans were still simple hunter-gatherers, living a nomadic life and struggling for survival. The site consists of several circular enclosures, each with massive stone pillars, some weighing up to 20 tons, adorned with intricate carvings of animals, abstract symbols, and human figures. The level of craftsmanship and artistic skill displayed in these carvings is astonishing for the era. The detailed carvings of foxes, bull snakes, and birds are not simple pictures. They are symbols, a lost language of a belief system that we are only just beginning to decipher. But the true genius of Göbekli Tepe is its challenge to our established narrative of civilization. For generations, archaeologists have believed that agriculture was the catalyst for complex societies. The theory was simple humans learned to farm, they settled in permanent communities, and that stability led to the development of complex social structures, monumental architecture, and organized religion. Göbekli Tepe turns this theory on its head. This magnificent site was built by hunter-gatherers, suggesting that complex social organization and monumental architecture may have preceded the advent of agriculture, not the other way around. It is a profound, beautiful thought, a quiet whisper from a distant past that tells us that the impetus for settling down may have been driven not by the need for food, but by the need for a shared spiritual or cultural purpose. It is as if a seed of belief gave rise to the seed of farming, a beautiful, unexpected turn in the story of human development. The mystery of Göbekli Tepe only deepens when we consider that after 1,000 years of use, the site was deliberately buried around 8,000 years ago. Why would a people bury their most sacred place, their most monumental achievement? Was it to protect it from a changing world? Was it an act of ritual, a final quiet act of reverence we do not know? This intentional preservation, this quiet, deliberate act of burying a treasure, has left archaeologists pondering the reasons behind such an act. It is a mystery that adds another layer of quiet, beautiful wonder to this already profound site. Göbekli Tepe is not just a temple. It is a monument to the power of belief, a testament to the fact that the human impulse to come together and create something beautiful and meaningful is as old as civilization itself. Finally, let's descend beneath the surface of our own planet to a mystery that has no historical record whatsoever. In China's Zhejiang province, a series of vast hand-carved underground chambers were discovered in the early 1990s. These are the Longyu Caves, a subterranean complex of 24 known grottos, each one meticulously carved from solid siltstone rock. The sheer scale of this project is awe-inspiring, with some of the caves reaching heights of 100 feet and spanning hundreds of thousands of square feet. But the real mystery, the one that has stumped archaeologists and engineers alike, is the precision of their construction and the complete absence of any historical record. Imagine a project of this scale today. It would require an immense amount of planning labor and technology, and yet, this was done by hand over 2,000 years ago with simple chisels and hammers. The walls and ceilings of the caves are adorned with uniform parallel lines, a testament to the immense skill of their unknown creators. But the most baffling question of all, is this what happened to the nearly 1 million cubic meters of rock that was excavated from these caves? There is no sign of it, no debris, no pile of rubble to suggest that such a monumental feat of engineering ever took place. It is a mystery that has no logical solution, a quiet, beautiful riddle carved into the very heart of the earth. The Longyou Caves have no name, no historical context, no story. They are a monument to a civilization that, for reasons we may never understand, chose to build something of unimaginable scale and then simply disappear, leaving behind no record, no legend, no whisper of their existence. It is a humbling and inspiring thought, a reminder that the greatest stories of humanity may be the ones we will never be able to read. The caves are a silent, beautiful puzzle that they left for us to solve. And perhaps in the end, the solving of the puzzle is not the point. Perhaps the point is the journey, the quiet contemplation, the sense of wonder that comes from knowing that the story of our past is still being written, and that with each new discovery, with each new mystery, it becomes not a simpler story, but a more beautiful one. Let's bring our gentle journey to a close, a final quiet moment of reflection on all that we have explored together. We have journeyed through centuries across continents and into the shadowy realms of myth and legend. We have seen how our historical narrative is not a finished book, but a living, breathing story filled with gaps, questions, and a profound and enduring mystery. Tonight we will rest in the quiet, beautiful spaces where the questions remain unanswered, where our story is still being written, and where our very existence is a testament to the endless wonder of our past. We have explored the enigmatic stone spheres of Costa Rica, each one a perfect silent riddle. We've drifted over the ancient Nazca Lines of Peru, a vast and silent canvas etched with the art of a people who spoke to the sky. We have held in our minds the mind-boggling complexity of the Antikythera Mechanism, a machine that rewrote the story of ancient technology. And we've contemplated the mysterious age of the Great Sphinx, a stony sentinel whose face holds a secret far older than we ever imagined. Each of these mysteries in its own way is not just a puzzle to be solved, but a gift from the past, a silent, beautiful reminder of the profound and often mysterious capabilities of our ancient ancestors. The true value of these archaeological enigmas is not in their final answer, but in their quiet, persistent voice that tells us not to be so certain in our knowledge. They challenge our long-held assumptions about the linear progression of history, about the slow, steady march of technological advancement. They remind us that knowledge can be lost, that brilliant traditions can vanish without a trace, and that the story of humanity is filled with unexpected twists and turns. These mysteries don't represent a failure of our science. They are a sign of its strength. They are the beautiful, compelling questions that drive us forward, that force us to be more humble in our assumptions, more open to new ideas, and more rigorous in our search for truth. Imagine our understanding of history not as a straight, well-lit road, but as a vast, dark forest. For a long time, we have followed the most visible paths, the ones lit by the clear light of historical records and undeniable evidence. But these mysteries are like quiet side trails that branch off into the deep shadows. We may not have a map for them. We may not know where they lead, but we know they are there. We know they are a part of the forest, and in their silent presence, they give the entire forest a greater sense of depth of mystery and of profound, hidden beauty. These enigmas are the quiet shadows that give our known history its depth and contrast, highlighting the fragility of what we know and the immense possibilities of what we do not. The search for answers to these mysteries is a deeply human endeavor, and it is a powerful force in our quest for knowledge. The mysteries themselves are the questions that captivate our imaginations and inspire us to dig deeper, to look closer, and to think differently. The enduring allure of these enigmas has fueled the development of new technologies, from ground-penetrating radar that can peer beneath the earth without disturbing a single grain of soil, to advanced dating methods that can tell us the age of an object with astonishing precision. The need to read the Voynich manuscript has pushed cryptographers and linguists to create new algorithms to listen for the faint echo of a lost language in a book that has remained silent for centuries. The need to understand the Sphinx's true age has forced geologists and archaeologists to collaborate to learn from each other's fields, to see the same monument with two different sets of eyes. These mysteries are a kind of muse, a silent, beautiful inspiration that pushes the boundaries of scientific inquiry and forces us to develop new and more sophisticated ways of understanding our world. But perhaps the most profound impact of these archaeological mysteries is their ability to connect us to our own humanity. In a world that is often fragmented and divided, these enigmas are a shared heritage, a common ground that transcends culture, language, and time. The wonder we feel when we look at the Nazca Lines or the colossal stones of Sacsayhuaman is a universal human experience. It is a feeling that connects us to the people who came before us, to their dreams, their struggles, and their enduring desire to create something beautiful and meaningful. These mysteries are a reminder that we are all part of a single continuous human story, a story that is as vast as the cosmos and as intimate as a single breath. Consider the Longyu Caves, a subterranean complex of 24 hand-carved grottos, a project of monumental scale with no historical record. The mystery of their purpose and their missing debris is not just a puzzle for archaeologists. It is a profound, beautiful riddle for all of us. It is a quiet testament to the fact that the greatest stories of humanity may be the ones we will never be able to read, the ones that a civilization chose to build in silence and then simply disappear, leaving behind a silent, stony masterpiece that speaks not in words, but in the echoes of its own creation. It reminds us that our story is not just a story of what we know, but a story of what we have forgotten, a story of the quiet, beautiful genius that existed in the shadows. Or consider the tale of Atlantis, a ghost story that inspired us to find real cities. Though the legendary island itself has never been found, the search for it has led to invaluable discoveries about ancient maritime cultures and geological events. The myth, in a way, was a quiet guide to real knowledge. It is a powerful reminder that our pursuit of knowledge is not just about what is real, but also about what is possible. It is a story that encourages us to continue to explore and to discover, not just for the sake of finding a lost city, but for the sake of understanding ourselves, our past, and our future. As we bring our journey to a close, let's take a final moment to rest in this thought. You are a part of a beautiful, unfinished story. The mysteries that we have explored tonight are not just distant puzzles. They are a part of your own heritage, a testament to the quiet genius and lost worlds of our ancestors. The quest for answers will continue, the story will unfold, and our curiosity will light the way forward. But for tonight, let's simply rest knowing that we are a part of a beautiful, endless story, a story that is as vast as the cosmos and as intimate as a single breath. Good night.